Welcome our dear student of second prep and welcome in a new academic year 2018-2019. Our syllabus in second prep, we are going to have an overlook of it first. The syllabus of second prep consists of 3 units. The first unit is totally chemistry. The second unit about atmospheric layer and global warming, ozone layer. The third unit is about extinction and fossils. Okay, but before starting our first unit and our first lesson, which is called attempt of classification of elements, we are going to revise what we have taken in first prep, because it's very important to understand the first lesson. We revised the last chemistry lesson in our first prep. Okay, let's start together. First, we are going to see the structure of the atom as we have taken it in the first prep. Okay, what's the atom? The definition of the atom: it is the smallest building unit of element which share in a chemical reaction without being changed. Type. What about the atom consists of? It consists mainly of 2 parts. The first part, we call it, this is the atom, as we see here. The center consists of nucleus, as we see here, and around it there is electron part. Type. As we see in this slide, electron has a negative charge, which rotate around the nucleus in a very fast speed in an orbit called energy level. As we have learned that the energy level we have named KLMNOPQ according to their energy level. Then the proton, which has a positively charged, and neutron, which has no charged atom. So the atom consists of nucleus and electron, and inside the nucleus there is electron. Inside the nucleus there is a positive proton and no charge neutrons. Okay, so what's the structure of the atom? First, the nucleus, which contain, as we said, positively charged protons, neutral particle called neutron, and this is inside the nucleus, and where we said it is the mass of the atom, because it is the total mass inside it, proton and neutrons, and both of them is called mass number. The second part in the atom is called electrons. The electrons are negatively charged particle which revolve around the nucleus in energy level with high speed. Okay, so let's sum up the atom together. The atom, the smallest building unit of the substance, consists of nucleus and electrons. The nucleus consists of positive charge. It has a positive charge particle called protons, and neutral. What's meant by neutral? It has no charge. It's not positive and it's not negative charge, called neutrons. The second part, electrons. What's the electrons? This, as we see, it's the negative charge which revolve around the nucleus with a very high speed. The electrons revolve in energy level. This is the energy level around the nucleus. The highest atom consists of how many? 7 energy level. Their name is KLMNOPQ. Okay, this is the 7 energy level around the atom. Okay, so this is what we have taken the last year, the first prep, and it's very important to revise this structure to this lesson. What's the atomic number? The atomic number is the number of proton inside the nucleus. Okay, what's the mass number? It is the number of protons and neutrons inside the protons and the neutrons inside the nucleus. What's the atomic number? It is the number of protons only. Okay, type. This is an example. Sodium 23. The rakam number which is written above the symbol, this one, 23, this is represent what? The mass number. Okay, so the mass number is the largest number which is written above the symbol. 11, this is the symbol of sodium, as we said. 11, this is the atomic number. So the atomic number is the number of, as we said, the number of protons. Okay, this is about the structure of the atom. We'll begin our lesson now. This is the beginning of our lesson. Why scientists try to classify element? Okay, why we classify element? Okay, why you at home you put the winter clothes in a place and the summer clothes in a place. So when you want to pick some of your clothes, you are easily pick up what you need. So you put your clothes at home according to your need. This is heavy clothes for winter, this is light clothes for summer. So when you are going out, you are pick easily what you have to eat. Your desk, you classify your desk. This is the books, this is the pencils, and this is the pen. You put each of them in a part in your desk. Why? So when you need something, you can easily pick it up without searching for a long time. This is why the scientists try to classify the element. The element was known from more than 200 years, was 67 elements only. So they try to classify, putting them into groups with similar property. Why? Okay, let's see the answer. Why we classify element? Number one, to be easily studied. So when I know this element in this group, I can know its property. If we classify element, we put them together to be easily studied. And number two, to know the relation between elements and chemical and physical property. This is an important question. Again, why scientists classify the elements? To be easy to study the elements and to know the relationship between chemical and physical property. Okay. We have 3 attempts for this classification. There were many attempts, but we will going to start only 3 of them. The trial or the attempts to classify the element. Number 1, Mendeleev's periodic table, and we are going to take it right now. Number 2, Moseley periodic table, and number 3, modern periodic table. يبقى why the first the scientists classify element? For 2 reasons. The reason number 1, we classified to be easily studied or facilitate their studying. Number 2, to find the relation between their chemical and physical property. Then, how many attempts we are going, or trial we are going to study? 3 attempts. Number 1, Mendeleev's, and the second periodic table is to Moseley's periodic table. It's a scientist also. And number 3 is the modern periodic table. Okay, let's start with Mendeleev's periodic table. Who's Mendeleev first? Mendeleev was a Russian scientist. Okay, let's see his picture. يبقى Mendeleev was a Russian scientist. Okay, he arranged the 67 elements in table in order of. يبقى the elements which well known at the Mendeleev was 67 elements only. Now in 2018 they reached 118 elements. Okay, this is only 67 elements were known when the Russian chemist make his periodic table. He make for each element a card. On this card he wrote the property of each element. He have 67 elements. Each element have a card. He wrote inside the card all the chemical and physical property known at this time, like oxygen, chemical property, boiling point, chemistry, physical and chemical property بتاعته in a card. Then the nitrogen, all the 67. Why 67? This was the element was discovered in his age. Okay. Then he arranged these elements according to what? According to their atomic weight. According to their atomic weight. So he arranged the card number 1, atomic weight number 1, number 2, number 3, number 9. Then he repeated again, okay, until he have what? He have an arrangement of the card which carry the name of the element. The row from left to right, he called it period. The column which from up to down, he called it group. So he find that this is a period from left to right, then the second one from left to right. The property of the element is repeated regularly. The property is repeated regularly at the beginning of each period. Okay, let's see together. Complete. Similar element is arranged vertically, column from up to down. From up to down. This is, we call it group. So the group here is the element which are read in vertical. Okay, يعني من up to down. Next, similar elements is arranged in horizontal from left to right. And this is, we call it, yes, period. Okay, يبقى the group is the element which arranged from up to down, and the period which it is the element which arranged from, yes, from left to right. He found by this arrangement, the 67 cards of this element, that the property are repeated regularly. At the beginning of each period, the property repeated again. At the beginning of each period, it is repeated regularly again. Okay, complete number 3. The property of the element what? Repeated periodically at the beginning of each what? Of each period. Okay, so Mendeleev's periodic table arranged according to atomic weight. Atomic weight, we can say atomic mass, or we can say mass number. All of the 3 expressions are correct. Atomic weight, atomic mass, or mass number. Again, group. It is the arrangement of element from up to down. Period, arranging the element from left to right, and the elements repeated periodically at the beginning of each new period. Was this table that Mendeleev discovered or made correct? It have some advantage and some disadvantage. Okay, what's meant by advantage and disadvantage? Advantage, يعني Mendeleev made something right in his table. And what is the disadvantage? There was something wrong in this table according to the data he have at this time. Type. What's the advantage? We said that he arranged the elements according to what? According to atomic weight, or atomic mass, or mass number. All of the 3 expressions are the same here. Type. When he arranged this atomic weight, he found that some of this atomic weight was calculated wrongly. Okay, he, as we said, we have a card for each element. He made his experiment and wrote the chemical and physical property of each. While he is doing this, he found that the sum of these elements, their atomic weight was calculated before wrong, so he corrected this number again. يبقى from the advantage of this table that Mendeleev have made, he corrected the wrong atomic weight that have been made or calculated or estimated by the scientists before him. This is the first advantage he have made. Now, what's about the second advantage? Let's see. يبقى number 1, he left gaps in his table or spaces. Why? For the discovery of new elements. What's meant by this? When Mendeleev arranged his table, okay, he have to put card number 1, number 2, number 3. He found that, for example, number 16 is missing, number 17 is missing. So he skipped this arrangement, left this place empty, and jumped to the next. But why he left this space empty? There is no card. So the scientist which comes after him will discover this new element which has this atomic weight that he is not have in this time. يبقى why he left the spaces, okay, or gaps in his table, the arrangement or missing part. This missing part for the scientists to predict or to discover the new elements following him. And this is an important reason why Mendeleev left gaps or spaces in his table for the discovery of new element, or we can say for the following scientists to discover the new element. The second advantage, he corrected, as we said, the wrong atomic weight of some element, and this is were estimated wrong by the scientist. يبقى the advantage of Mendeleev's table, he left gaps. Why? For the discovery of new element. Number two, he corrected the atomic weight of some elements. Okay. Number three, he divided groups into subgroup A and B. Okay. Let's have a summary about what we have taken till now. We revised the atomic structure. Again, what's the atom? It is the smallest part which share in a chemical reaction, as we have taken in the previous year first prep. The atom consists of what? Consists of two main parts. The nucleus in the middle and the electrons outside rotating. What's inside the nucleus? Two parts. The first part, we call it proton, and it has a positive charge. So proton has a positive charge. And neutrons, and it is neutral charge, has no charge. Then what's about the electrons? The electrons have negative charge, and they rotate with a very high speed around the nucleus. They're rotating in what? They are rotating in what we called energy level. The energy level, we call it K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. They are 7 energy level. We have two scientific terms, mass number and atomic number. What's the mass number? The mass number, it is the sum of proton and neutron inside the nucleus, and it is written above the symbol. What's the atomic number? It is the number of the proton only, and the number of proton equal the number of electrons, as we have said that the atom is neutral. What's meant by neutral? The positive charge equal the negative charge, so the proton equal to the electrons, and this what we call it atomic number. Okay, let's draw have a mass number and for an element. Example, we have chlorine. The symbol of the chlorine is 35, 17. Mass number equal, or this number is called the mass number, which is equal 35. Number of what? Proton and neutrons. Atomic number equal 17. What's the 17? It is the number of protons, okay, which is equal to the number of electrons. Okay, so we must know how to calculate the mass number and the atomic number for this lesson, and this is we have taken it in the first prep. Again, we have a Russian scientist called Mendeleev. Mendeleev have a 67 element. This element was arranged according to what? To their atomic weight. Ascendingly, according to their atomic weight. The arrangement have an advantage, which is he corrected the wrong atomic weight, and number two, he left gaps and divided into group A and subgroup A and subgroup B. Okay, this is about the advantage. What about the disadvantage? Disadvantage of Mendeleev's table. He considered the isotopes as different element. First, what's meant by isotopes? And to understand it, we have hydrogen. Hydrogen has, all of these examples are hydrogen. Number one has an atomic number 1 and mass number 1. The other have mass number 2 and atomic number 1. The third one has an mass number 3 and atomic number 1. So all of these three are called hydrogen, having the same atomic number but different mass number. This is, we call it isotopes of hydrogen. This we call it isotopes of hydrogen. So what's meant by isotopes? It is the element which have more than one atomic mass number, has more than mass number. Type. What Mendeleev considered, each one of them is an element. This is an element, and this is an element, and this is an element. And this was a wrong estimated from Mendeleev, because all of the three are only one element. So because he considered of them as a different element, he put more than one of them in the same place. He put more than one in the same place. Okay? What are the disadvantages of Mendeleev? The isotopes was considered as one element, or more than one element, And this, the mistake, makes him put more than one element in the same place. The second one, he made a disturbance in atomic weight. As we said, he make the arrangement ascendingly. He make atomic weight number 1, 2, 3, and so on. He make disturb in this arrangement because he found that this element is similar, so I'll put them beside each other without consideration the atomic weight. So what are the disadvantage of the atomic weight? The disadvantage of Mendeleev's table, he made disturbance in atomic weight to suit the property. Okay, so we are going to ask a question. Compare between advantage and disadvantage of Mendeleev, and this is a question to ask, inshallah, next episode. Remember, we are going to ask about the advantage and the disadvantage of Mendeleev. The disadvantage, that he considered the isotope as a different element, so he put more than one element in one space. And the second one, he make disturbance to suit the property of them. But what about the advantage? The advantage, he corrected the wrong estimated atomic weight. And number 2, he made the subgroup A and B, and he left gap. And as we have explained why he left gap, or with reason why Mendeleev left gaps between his table for the new element to be discovered. Okay, in this episode we have taken or revised the atomic structure. Okay, we revise what's meant by mass number and atomic number, and how Mendeleev arranged his periodic table, and the advantage and the disadvantage of Mendeleev. Okay, I'm very glad to be with you this episode. Looking forward for your questions and messages on the Facebook and our site on the YouTube. Until we meet again next Thursday, inshallah. Hope to see you soon next Thursday. Thank you and goodbye.